Clifford, please raise your hand. Josh Cohen, OrlandoMagic.com.
Hey, Coach. After watching film from last night, what were some of the positives that you saw, and what are things you need to improve going on this road trip?
Well, I mean, the one thing, and a lot of it had to do with Cleveland's defense, is it's our pace of play, which had been so good. And I think a lot of it, or what I'm hopeful of, is they were switching so much from man to zone. And talking to a couple guys this morning, we really struggled to find our rhythm, offensively. So I think that, again, pace of play is such a big deal in this league. But we've had in both of those games, we had possessions where we weren't even into offense till like 14, 13 on the shot clock. And it's just too hard to, create good opportunities when that happens.
Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Steve, how painful was the news to you about Markelle's season-ending injury? When we last spoke to you, you were hopeful that it wasn't as bad as was feared.
Listen, you can't. It's crushing. I mean, on so many levels. And the one positive about it is, I had a chance to talk to Markelle last night. And I love his attitude. I mean, I wouldn't say he was upbeat, but he was very positive. And I think that, he understands what rehabbing is all about. Obviously he's been through a lot already. But I actually, after speaking with him, he made me feel better by the time I got off the phone.
Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel.
Yeah, Coach, what's the mood of the team after the injury? What's your mood? And do you ever feel like this team over the last couple of years has been snake bit with injuries?
Yeah, I don't know how you'd phrase it, Mike, but we certainly had more than our share of both significant injuries and small injuries here these last couple of years. So hopefully it'll even out. I thought the guys today were good. Obviously, they're disappointed. But it's the way that this league works, and I do think that the guys have been here for 2 years. We've been through this. You think about it. We went into the bubble, and by the time we got to the playoffs, we were playing without AG, without MCW, and without JI. So I think those guys have a feel for, how to compensate when guys go out, and they also understand that if you play well and everybody's on top of things, we can still be a good team.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, how do you adjust short term? Does Cole move up to the starting unit and you have Jordan Bone with the second unit? Have you kind of looked over and made those decisions yet?
Yeah, Cole will start, we're looking at some other things, some bigger lineups. And that's kind of we're in the process of doing now. We had a long staff meeting this morning about it. So there's a lot of things to consider. Some of it could be game by game, but Cole, in my opinion, he's the starter right now, and I think that he's ready to take it and grow with it. And we all have great confidence in him.
Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
We've already seen just how driven Cole is and how, he eats at himself with the mistakes he may or may not make. How do you, as his coach, try to nurture him and prevent him from worrying too much about his shooting slump at a time like this?
Yeah, I mean, to me, and I tell him this. I met with him, I guess, 2 days ago when we watched some tape, and it's a lot more than shooting numbers, playing well. It's this organizational part, which he's already gotten a lot better at. There's the defensive part, which has improved tremendously since we started. NBA defense is difficult to pick up. He had some great sequences last night in pick and rolls, some help reads that he was very good with. And so I think that he's focused on the right things. I mean, he wants to make shots. Every player does. But I think he's also understands that he's talented and he can impact the game in many other ways when the shot's not going down for him.
Jamie Say, WKMG.
Hi, Steve. Cole seems to be a guy that doesn't back down from challenges. How can that help him as he takes a greater role with the team?
Well, I think that, Jamie, that's where everything starts. I think is having a good approach. He loves basketball. I mean, you can see it every day when he comes in. He likes to be in the gym. He likes to practice. He likes drills. He's always upbeat, and he is hard on himself. But I think he does it in a productive way. So I think this is something again that he can take. I mean, obviously, there's going to be growing pains. Talking about a guy that's been an NBA player, I think, for like 6 weeks, and we're in the middle of 22 games in 39 nights. So there'll be nights where it'll be tougher, but he's a talented guy, and I think he has a great approach.
Mike Bianchi.
Yeah, Coach, obviously you and the team became involved in the electoral process during the election and in the bubble. I'm just wondering, have you talked to the team about what happened at the U.S. Capitol building, and what are your thoughts about what happened?
I just talked to some 3 or 4 guys this morning, actually, when they were eating, and I think it's an incredibly sad day for all of us, for democracy, for our standing around the world. It's again, we can. It's fine to disagree on policies or, who you vote for, but if you want to get into the founding fathers and their vision of how things are supposed to be done, there's been so much misinformation, lying, basically, and you add that with social media, and actually things that you see on TV also that are just falsehoods, and there are people that believe it. I was reading a little bit 2 days ago about people that get involved in conspiracy theories, and once somebody has something in their mind, history shows it's hard to change their ideas about things. So there's a lot that's gone into it, but obviously numerous people stepped over the line. I think there were 52 arrests, and from what I understand, there should be many more. But we should all be sad today or ashamed of, again, what's happened in our country and how we're viewed right now.
Dan Savage.
Cliff, I know you haven't had too much time from last night's game, but when you look ahead to the Rockets, some new faces there alongside Harden. What are some of the biggest challenges this team presents, and how have they changed over the course of the last year?
Well, John Wall looks good, really good, actually. I've watched the majority of their game last night in Indiana, and he, looks like he's hit it running. I mean, he's still open court speed, getting to the basket, terrific passer off the dribble, great competitor. DeMarcus Cousins, I think, looks very healthy. Looks like he's in good shape. He's shooting the ball well. When he's on the floor, they're 5 out. Nwaba's playing well for them. I think he may be a good fit there to go with, with James Harden and with Tucker. I think that the guy that's always been kind of the X factor there is Eric Gordon, who played well last night also. So I'm going to watch more on the plane and when we get to Houston. But obviously, it'll be a great challenge, and they're a talented team. And I'm biased, obviously, but Steven Silas, I think, is doing a great job with them.
Okay, we have time just for a couple more. Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Steve, with the team's injury woes, I'm curious whether you're planning that MCW and Farouk will be out for an extended period of time from this point forward.
Yeah, I don't know a definite timetable, Josh, on either of them. I know this: Farouk's getting, better and better. He's able to do a lot more on the floor. He hasn't joined in with team activities yet, but just watching him work out, I think he feels a lot better and he looks a lot better. I think MCW is, he's still in a walking boot, so he won't go with us this weekend. And I think it just depends on how his foot responds to the treatments.
Okay, final question. Jamie, say WKMG.
Just back to Markelle, the fact that he's dealt with serious injury before, I mean, obviously this makes it kind of doubly heartbreaking what he's going through, but what do you expect from him when he's able to start rehab? How do you expect him to attack it?
I think he'll be just like he was before. You know, when he got here, obviously he was doing a ton of rehab on his shoulder, on his wrist, on his knee, and you know, he was a machine worker. I mean, he was diligent. He's always on time, and I do think that experience will, you know, will help him in this, and that, you know, he understands how hard the work has to be. And you know, talking to him last night, you know, he's a positive person anyway. And but I was, you know, I felt a lot better when I got off the phone with him after the conversation we had. So I think that nothing like this is ever easy, but I think he has the right attitude, and I think he has a great idea of what's ahead for him.
Okay, great. Thank